Welcome to the deep dive. You ever feel like your choices are completely, totally yours?
That's a good question.
Well, today we're diving into priming. It's this really fascinating idea in psychology
Right.
about how these tiny, subtle cues you encounter can actually nudge your thoughts, your actions, often without you having a clue.
Yeah, completely below the radar sometimes.
So for those of you listening who love figuring out how the mind works, I think you'll get some real aha moments here. We're going to unpack priming based on our sort.
Let's do it. So priming at its core, it's when being exposed to one thing, say a word, an image, even a smell, influences how you react to something else later on.
Yeah.
It's like, your brain has these pathways, right?
Yeah.
All connected. And activating one pathway it makes a related pathway easier to fire up.
Got it. So the material we looked at breaks this down. There are different kinds, like semantic priming.
Yeah.
That's about meaning. Yeah.
Exactly. Meaning-based. So if you see the word beach, you'll likely recognize the word sand faster afterwards.
Because they're linked in your head.
Yep. Connected concepts. Then there's perceptual priming.
Perceptual. Okay, how's that different?
That one's more about the form, the physical shape of things. So imagine you briefly see a really blurry picture of, I don't know, a bicycle. Later, you'll probably identify a clear picture of that same bicycle a bit quicker than if you hadn't seen the blurry one first.
Okay. Makes sense. And the third type, conceptual.
Conceptual priming, yeah. That deals with categories. If you're primed with the idea of furniture, for instance.
You'd be faster to recognize chair or sofa.
Precisely, because they fall into that activated category.
So it really taps into how we, organize everything mentally. What about memory, though? How does priming play into that? It's not like implanting false memories or anything.
No, not like that. It's more subtle. Priming can make certain memories more accessible, easier to pull up.
How so?
Well, think about hearing an old song on the radio. Suddenly, maybe later that day, you find yourself humming a different song by the same band. Okay. Without consciously trying to remember it.
Exactly. The first song sort of woke up that whole network related to the band in your brain.
That clicks. Now, the sources mention real-world examples. Advertising comes up a lot. How are they using these subtle primes?
Oh, constantly. Think about the colors in a logo or the music in a commercial.
Yeah.
A luxury car ad might use sleek visuals and classical music to prime feelings of sophistication, maybe success.
Right. And fast food using bright, warm colors.
Yeah. Red and yellow often linked to speed, excitement, even hunger. These aren't things you consciously process, usually, but they can sway your decision later when you're deciding where to eat.
And it happens in education, too, like classroom environment.
It could, yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe posters emphasizing effort could subtly prime students to be more persistent on a tough problem. Little cues matter.
So tiny things setting a sort of mental stage. And this can actually shift our actions, too, not just thoughts or feelings.
It seems so, yeah. Some studies suggest that. For example, if you're subtly exposed to words related to politeness.
You might, shortly after, behave slightly more politely yourself. It's not a huge effect, but it can nudge behavior.
Okay, that leads into something maybe a bit more complex. It's the stereotypes. How does priming connect there? Because that seems quite powerful.
It is, and often unintentional. See, our brains learn associations from our culture, from media, everything. So exposure to words or images commonly linked to a certain social group can automatically, unconsciously activate other related thoughts or stereotypes we hold about that group.
Even if we don't endorse those stereotypes consciously.
Exactly. It's about the activation of existing mental networks, not necessarily belief.
Wow, that really shows how deep these things run. What about how long these effects last? Is it just a quick flash?
It really depends. Some effects are super brief, like milliseconds or seconds. Others, especially if the prime is strong or repeated, might linger longer, maybe influencing judgments or behaviors for minutes, perhaps even longer in some contexts. There's still research going on there.
And the studies mentioned, like Barg's elderly stereotype study. That one's pretty famous, right? What was the key finding?
Yeah, that one caused a stir. The finding, essentially, was that participants who were subtly primed with words related to the elderly stereotype, like Florida or wrinkled, apparently walked more slowly down the hallway afterwards.
Whoa.
It suggested that activating a stereotype could actually influence physical behavior related to it. Though it's fair to say there's been debate and replication issues with some of these specific findings since then.
Right, okay. But it highlights the potential power, even if the specifics are debated. But it's not all potentially negative or manipulative, is it? Can priming be used for good?
Absolutely. That's a key point. Think about positive priming. You could intentionally say, put up pictures that remind you of your fitness goals, or listen to uplifting music before a challenging task.
Using those subtle cues to nudge yourself in a desired direction.
Exactly. Using environmental cues or self-talk to prime more helpful mindsets or motivate positive actions.
So wrapping this up, it really feels like priming is this fundamental, often unconscious process. It's constantly shaping how we interpret things and guiding what we do next.
That sums it up well. It's a background hum influencing our experience of the world.
Definitely gives you a lot to think about. So for you listening, maybe start noticing the little things today, the ads you see, the words you hear, the environment you're in. Just consider how might these subtle primes be nudging your perceptions, your decisions in ways you hadn't realized. Something to chew on. Thanks for taking this deep dive with us.